Marathon. So I've been keeping an eye on this game for a while, and it recently, well, they showed it, and that's cool, awesome. I've been hyped for this game like many others. I only reason I wanted to mention it is or talk about it is because I've been seeing a lot of people, saying how they feel about the game, and that tends to be negative right now. Uh, but I'm hoping it's funny because like I understand where they're coming from. Actually very critical of games myself too, maybe even too critical a lot of times. But so it's funny that I'm on this side of the fence. But considering that, I am hoping that everyone that is able to at least give it a chance so that it doesn't just flop. But at the same time, it's not gonna be free to play, it seems, which is gonna make it hard to give it a chance if you have to shell out some money for it. Versus when it's like, why would I shell out some money for this game I'm on the fence with versus save that money or put that money somewhere else. So I get where people are coming from. Personally, I feel like the game should be free to play. That might be controversial to some people, but personally, I feel like free to play games are just like the definitive experience for live service games. Personally, you know, I just feel like if the game's good enough, right, and if it attracts a large enough audience, then the game can sustain itself purely, assuming the game has like a decent enough audience, right? It could sustain itself purely off of microtransactions, like such as battle passes and cosmetics. Like, you know what I mean? Now, I might be wrong. I mean, it's not like I make video games, I don't know too much about the in-depths of that. But I would assume, like, you know, people do buy cosmetics, I buy them too. Like, if the cosmetics are good enough and the price is like not absurd, a lot of people won't feel too bad about buying them. You know what I mean? I could be wrong about this. I'm willing to admit that. But I just feel like, yeah, like if this game were free to play, it's like, okay, we're getting an extraction shooter. There was the other one with Tarkov, right? The other Tarkov like game. I don't know what it was called because I never looked too much into it, but I remember it coming out and the main difference was, oh, it's free to play. This one, like, you know, uh, it's clearly a lot different, space themed and whatnot. But at the same time, it's still an extraction shooter, so not I wouldn't say that's like the most popular genre, but it's a fun genre. I've actually loved I love the Division Part 1, the Dark Zone. It's like my favorite iteration of the Dark Zone. I played a little bit of DMZ too, and I liked it, even though it wasn't as like in depth as like Tarkov. Like personally, I'm not a big fan of Tarkov because I'm a controller goblin. I'll admit it. I'll be the first to admit it. You know, I'm a I'm a controller goblin. I've grown up playing on controller, and then so yeah, that's what I play on. Every now and then, if the game's not too complex, like let's say Minecraft, I guess, or like Phasmophobia, I'll play on the keyboard and mouse. But that's neither here nor there. Point is that Tarkov is, it's harder for me to get into, which is my personal reasons for not playing it. But aside from how I feel about playing it, on that, I think the game's actually good. Like, it's cool. There's some complexity to it, which is awesome. But I noticed Shroud wasn't, that was one of the things he had mentioned that the game lacks. You know, the complexity, which I think is, it's a good criticism, but the only reason I don't really vibe with that criticism is because, um, I would say it has to do with, like as much as I like complexity in games, I feel like there comes to a point where it's too much. Like, yes, it could still thrive with a niche audience, but I feel like, most games want to enter the mainstream. We don't want to have a game that's too small because we want players to play with. One of my favorite examples is a game I used to play a lot and liked. Still kind of do like it, but I don't play it anymore. Is For Honor. For Honor from Ubisoft. It's a knight versus Vikings and samurai game. It's a really cool fighting game. Really cool. There's a lot of mechanics in it, such as dodging, deflecting, parrying, unblockables, you know, a lot of mechanics, which can be hard to grasp, to be honest. And then what makes it even more complex is with all those mechanics that are, hard to remember and whatnot, that have different attacks and attack timings, deflect timings, all this other nonsense. There's like characters that have different specific character attacks that are only unique to them. Yada yada yada. You get the point. What I'm trying to say is For Honor is super complex, and that's not the reason why it's in the state it is with a low population. Compared like because I like it's still going right, but like for I think it's a good game like currently, right? There's a couple reasons why it didn't work so well for them, right? But it's it's not dead, but it's small community. But it's a good game, and I think that's complex, like Tarkov, and I think it should be way more popular than it is right now. But it's not, and that's for a bunch of reasons. It's not just complexity, but personal experience, like anecdotal experience. My buddies and family, have I've tried to get them into it back when I was still playing it, and it just never worked. It never clicked. Why? Because the game is hard. That was the reason. Like it was just hard for them. And I understand because it's like not only is it super difficult, there's a lot of mechanics. You are always getting introduced to new characters, which had new unique stuff to them. So it's like, and then there was matchup specifics, like, oh, this like a guard break, for example, might give you or not a guard break. I'm trying to think of something. Uh, it has to do with like timings because the game's kind of complex. So it's like I guess I can't think of one because it's been a long time since I played. But something like oh, this character has a shoulder bash. Let's say he shoulder bashes, right? Uh, he might have enough time to uh block the incoming attack even if you dodge and attack him. Something like that. Like obviously I'm just like spitballing here. It's been a long ass time since I played, so I can't think of this example at the top of my head. My point is only back to what I was saying. I just went mini rant about For Honor. It's just For Honor is a complex game, which is I would say partially the reason why it's hard to get into. You could say the same thing for games like Siege too, where it's like Siege at the beginning, there's only a couple operators too, yet now there's like so many, they all have different stuff. So the learning curve, it works like that works with like every character thing, right? But it's not, that's just one complexity aspect. You have that combined with Tarkov, for example, you have all these gun attachments, creating your own guns, yada yada. You get the point, which is hard for someone that's not used to it and is used to something simpler like COD. Which so it's and they may not prefer it, and the majority of the audience may not prefer it. But I want Marathon to succeed at the end of the day. Eh, But I'm skeptical just as much as everyone else is. But I personally Oh yeah, but back to I had said earlier like that. Yeah, I think it should be free to play and whatnot. Let me try and reiterate on that. What I mean by free to play, or did I say it? Okay, okay, I'm forgetting. I didn't even write a script for this. I'm goofy. Anyways, what I meant to say, what did I mean to say? I'm losing my train of thought. So, Marathon, I I think the aesthetic is awesome. That's one of the key things that's cool about this game. It's it's got this cyberpunk futuristic sci-fi look to it, which is awesome. Everybody loves cyberpunk, like the aesthetic. Like it's all cool, like cyberpunk aesthetic. You know, granted, but like what do we have for games in terms of cyberpunk? There's Cyberpunk 2077, but it's a single player game. Can you play a single player game with your buddies? No, that's the answer. You can't. So that's just the fact that it's cyberpunk looking is kind of enough to get me into it. But yeah. Oh, another thing I kind of dislike about this game is it has to do with the aspect of what's the word? What's the word? Damn, I'm losing my train of thought. It has to do with the aspect of holy moly, what's wrong with me? Ah, okay. Give me a sec. 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 Okay, marathon. Marathon. Oh yeah. I remembered. Okay, I have such a brain fart. Okay, so yeah, I have bad memory. Sometimes I feel like I just have terrible memory. Like I literally will just forget stuff. Like I'll have a train of thought and just be gone one year out the other. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, before I keep yapping and forget what I meant to say, a criticism I do have is that it's going the Apex route with the three-player thing. You know what I mean? Like, personally, I do have a multiple group of friends, right? That I like, you know, four players would be cool. But realistically, to be honest, yeah, three players is usually what I'm playing with. A group of three, sadly. But it would be cool to have the option, to play with my fourth buddy at the same time, You know what I'm saying? Or a third buddy, because I'm the fourth, but yeah, they went the Apex route. Not so cool. I don't know. Oh yeah, but well, yeah. Back to about the money thing. Okay, so it's gonna cost 40 bucks, right? That's what everyone's saying, right? That's what all the internet's telling us. Yeah. Uh, if it personally, as I said before, I would prefer free to play. But the thing is, they're gonna charge 40, right? Let's say they charge 40. Okay, they charge 40, but they're also gonna charge a battle pass. Okay, okay. They've, well, at least that's what I've read on the internet. They're gonna charge a battle pass. And if that's true, then it's like, okay. They're obviously gonna sell skins too. Okay. That's like a lot more ways that they can make money. And it's like they're already making money off of our purchase. Like, here's the thing when it comes to, cause like, this game's gonna be a live service game, right? That like, they're gonna continuously develop it. Okay? So, when you do a live service game, well, you need to fund it. So, a good way is, obviously, Battle Pass, Yeah, makes sense. They get money, you get some cool stuff. And you kind of have to grind for it a little bit, right? Which is something to do, which is cool. Uh, and then you have the cosmetics they're gonna sell in the skin, in the shop. which the problem I have is like, okay, when it comes to cosmetics and selling them in video games, it's I think it it's always cool. I think that there can always be a balance between it. You can have paid cosmet. My model's going all crazy. So you can have paid cosmetics and you can have earnable cosmetics. That's what is that's always I think cool. Okay? Because it always personally feels better when you earn your cosmetic through grinding and whatnot. Such as Halo Reach, for example, had one of the cooler earnable stuff. They had like a credit system. And this is a game that wasn't free to play. You purchased it and then they sold DLC later on throughout the life cycle, right? Which you had to pay for, which is okay. You're like, that's fair. They sold some DLC, buy it, support the game, they made DLC. They weren't free to play, but they did have a cool aspect that, earnable shit. You play the game, you get credits, you spend in in the game, and you get like flaming recon and shit like that, whatever, stuff like that. Um, Another game of I like, well, besides that, Marvel Rivals, I love to glaze that fucking game. My bad. Excuse my, yeah. I love to glaze Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals is such, besides Fortnite, okay, Fortnite's also another goat of free to play. I bring up Marvel Rivals because I love that game. Marvel Rivals free to play. They on launch they give you a, not just on launch, but like if you were to get on the game right now as a free to play player, you don't have to put a dime in the game. And you will still get enough credits through challenges and playing the game, the achievement system, whatever that they have in the game, enough just to get a whole skin. One of the good ones, the more expensive ones, which is pretty crazy, honestly. It's like that's very generous of a game to do like nowadays. And then even though it's free to play, if you were to compare it to another free to play game like League, for example, or Smite, those are both free to play games. What do they do differently? They sell you the champions. They sell you the gods. You have to pay just to have them all. But Marvel Rivals says, no, you don't. You get everyone. And then, yeah, you just have for everyone. You don't have to buy them. If they release a new one, you have it. Awesome. And all they're doing is selling battle passes and skins, and it's working for them. They're succeeding. They're continuously developing it, and it's cool. Which is why I feel like free to play and selling cosmetics and battle passes, and not just like obviously that's how they're making their money, right? But they what's it called? This is my turn of that. Uh, Give me a sec. My head, it's forgetting. What was I supposed to say? I'm going off script. Kidding. I don't have a script. I'm just yapping. That's why there's a lot of these moments. I don't know if I'm gonna edit them out. I'm gonna leave them in. Maybe I'll leave a couple in, just because I'm lazy and yeah, I don't know. Anyways, Marvel Rivals is a good example of a free-to-play game, and it works. Now, I don't develop games, like I said earlier, to reiterate it. So I don't know how much, you know, if it really is enough to fund further development, like, I don't know, like expansions, etc. But you get my point. It's like, personally, you know, that's just how I feel. You know, I could be ignorant, obviously. You know, I don't work as that. I don't do that. I'm not a dev, but that's how I feel. Now, it might still, despite how I feel about the game being $40 versus free to play, even though I feel it should be free to play, at the end of the day, I think I'm still willing to chip out 40 for this game because yeah, I'm hyped for it. Like it looks cool. It looks like it could be fun. Uh, but I don't blame people for being on the fence and skeptical about it and critical of it. It but we'll just have to see and like if you're listening, Bungie, send me a code please and I'll be the biggest simp. No, but like for real? Okay. All seriousness? Send me the code. Um, yeah, I guess that's all I had to say. It's a bit of a rant. I was gonna do a short for this initially, but I don't know. I just started yapping and yapping and yapping and yapping and yapping and yapping and yap, and I couldn't help myself. If anyone's watching this, thank you. If not, it's okay. I just needed a yap. I don't know. I'm really excited to try this game. Send me a call, please. Bye.